Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to be doing something slightly different to my previous videos. Kind of be looking at more of the current form of the Milan team as opposed to looking back at our history. Because I couldn't help but look on Twitter last night after the recent thrashing that we got from Inter Milan and think maybe Stefano Pioli can change things up. I came up with a few formations that maybe the coach should consider. I'm not saying I've got a direct link to the coach, but I think it might be going through his mind as well. So we're going to run through these formations today and also look at the formation that we're currently using and maybe dissect it and see why we're not getting the current results that we previously were getting around 3-4 months ago. So currently we play a 4-2-3-1 formation that reverts into a 4-5-1 when defending. The main aspects to this formation is the attacking fullbacks who have to come back and defend, and obviously the wingers who create overlaps and also help out in the defensive phases. And we ideally want to keep a compact team with the centre mids and the attacking mid dropping in to make that 5 in midfield. Recently, I think the performances come down to a lot of aspects. Injuries, players coming back from COVID spells, Bennacer constantly in and out of the team. And I think currently we're struggling for a form of identity, and that aspect of creating in between the lines, especially between midfield and attack. We play a high press right now, and I don't think it's being done well defensively. Currently it's, do we want to continue with this formation? And I think we should once Bennacer comes back, because he's obviously a crucial point in the midfield and making things tick, and also bringing the ball forward, not just passing, bringing the ball forward. He's very good at dribbling and very hard to get off the ball, whereas Tonali and Kessie just don't have that in their locker. So he links that gap in between the midfield and the centre attacking mids and the wingers. Milan have this issue, and the question is how are we going to resolve it? And potentially we could look at a formation change, and I'm hoping Stefano looks at this as well. A lot of people are calling out for Fikayo Tomori to come into the team, and people aren't really enthusiastic with Romagnoli and Simon Kjaer's performances. And I know Tomori should be starting. He should be starting. You know, he has the pace for a high press, especially in this formation. But if it's something he doesn't want to upset the apple cart with Romagnoli coming out of the team and obviously the experience of Kjaer coming out of the team, then perhaps there's a way you can field all three. So the first formation we're going to look at is the 3-5-2. It's solid and compact. I can see a lot of potential strengths from it when it comes to balance of play. I don't think we'll concede a lot of goals on the counter-attack just by having the 3 centre-backs and obviously the pace of Tomori to cover. With the wing-back positions, I think Theo Hernandez will obviously do an amazing job, gives him more licence to roam forward. The midfield, very compact, Tonali and Kessie. We've got Çalhanoğlu in a sort of a free role to create in behind the strikers, and Rafael Leao and Ibrahimovic up top. And I think we have to get strikers closer to Ibra. That would be get the best out of us and potentially get us scoring goals again. We might struggle with, which is the left centre-back. And I don't think Romagnoli should be dropped, but I think when you play a 3 at the back formation, and I've noticed this quite a lot with players like Chiellini for Juventus and Skriniar last night yesterday for Inter Milan, is that they go forward quite well. They're brave enough to break into those channels of midfield and offer something else. I'm not confident that he has that in his locker to go forward. He kind of looks like a fish out of water when he seems to go forward and change things up a little bit. Second formation I'm thinking about is just a slight adaptation from the previous formation. It's a 3-5-3. It essentially drops Hakan into more of a creative role and gets Rebic and Leao as a sort of supporters for Ibra. I think this would be a great one because players like Leao and Rebic who've got the legs for it and the high press to back up Ibra, this could potentially give us more opportunities to score on goal. And I think with Hakan, and I noticed this quite a lot with Hakan Çalhanoğlu, that in the derby and games prior to it with Bennacer out, he feels like he has to drop off more into midfield to create more because Tonali and Kessie just don't have it in them. Hakan, he collects the ball from deep and brings it forward. If he's going to play deep anyway, why not keep him deep and have more players in front of him? So this is a formation. This is actually my favourite formation I'm going to suggest today. Another thing with playing like 3 centre-backs as well, do we have enough depth for this? So if someone's injured or if we're going to rotate, I think we do, because you've got to think Romagnoli, Simon Kjaer, Tomori as the 3 starters. I think we have enough depth with Kalulu, Gabbia, Calabria can probably do a shift there as the right centre-back. I think there's enough there for me to say that there's enough depth to have this formation running for at least a short space of time until Bennacer comes back. This last formation I think it's quite interesting. Obviously knowing the 4-3-1-2 a lot from the history of Milan and having Kaka playing as that trequartista role. We have a wildcard player at the club who recently isn't being used that well, obviously due to injury, Ibrahim Diaz, who's probably one of the best, well, is the best dribbler when it comes to sort of ball retention and surrounded by a lot of players. Leao's great going into space. Rebic is great going into space, but when surrounded by players, Brahim Diaz does very well, obviously retaining the ball, drawing in fouls, asking questions from the centre mids from the other team and the defensive midfielders. And I think him behind Leao or Rebic, and obviously Ibrahimovic, the striker, I think it's something to consider. The fullbacks have got enough in their locker to go up and down. It will essentially make players like Samuel Castillejo redundant, because obviously we tried this out during Gianpaolo's tenure at the club and it didn't work out so well. I think it's something to consider. I look at Theo Hernandez and I see someone like Serginho in him who just is amazing going forward. It would obviously have a bit of a liability where it's he goes forward and who's covering his defensive duties. I guess Kessie's on that left side to cover that. I guess having Kessie as a box-to-box midfielder hasn't worked well in the past before, so that is another issue. And obviously we have four at the back formation, so does Romagnoli start? Does Kaya start? Do we finally get some more into the team? So each formation kind of has its ups and downs, but this is one that's quite interesting, especially in the attacking phase. It's something I do think that will probably get worked out quite quick from other teams. Doesn't give us a lot of variety going forward because essentially it all goes from the middle, and we don't have the overlapping plays from the wingers and the fullbacks to rely on. So yeah, those are the formations that come to my mind last night while looking back on the game. And personally, I like the three at the back formation. I think it's something we consider. We finally have the personnel for it. It didn't go well last time with Montella because it was very rushed. So yeah, guys, this is something that just came to my mind and something I hope to be doing a lot more of, because it doesn't take me long to record these and obviously find a lot of historical data for. So something I hope to do a lot more of. And yeah, what I want to know is, any Milan fans out there or football fans, how should the Milan change the team? Maybe there's a formation I've not thought about. Maybe there's ideas that I've not thought about, or strengths and weaknesses with each of these formations. I'd like to get your input, and if there's any formations that you can think of, leave them in the comment section below. So we're going to wrap things up here today, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. If you like the content that's coming out, obviously feel free to hit the like button. So stay tuned, and until next time, guys, have a great day and stay amazing.